Hey, Malcolm Reed here, How to Barbecue Right. Today we're gonna make a big old pot of beefy chili, no beans. This is gonna be one that'll stick with you. Let's get to cooking. I'm gonna grind my own chili meat. So I've got 2 pounds of fatty chuck roast. They're cubed up, I would say, but about 1 inch by inch. You just want them in smaller sized chunks. That's gonna go through the grinder. Now I'm using Shell's KitchenAid mixer with the grinder attachment to it, but if you got a sausage grinder, by all means, you could use that too. Any kind of meat grinder will work. We got the same with the sirloin steak. These are just 1-inch cubes of sirloin I picked up at the grocery store, nothing fancy. So now we're gonna go ahead and get some seasoning on our beef so it's incorporated into the grind. I've got some of my Bonafide Chili Seasoning. I'm just gonna sprinkle this over the meat, probably about 2 tablespoons, because I wanna get some flavor going. And as it grinds, it's gonna mix all that seasoning with the sirloin and with the fatty ground chuck. So you just use your hands, and we just wanna incorporate that seasoning on the outside of all these little delicious cubes of beef. And that way when we drop it in the grinder, we're gonna have some sirloin, some chuck. It's gonna mix it all together, make a really nice chili grind. And you could take this meat and just let it hang out in the refrigerator for a little bit to get it back ice cold, but I'm gonna go ahead and grind it today because it's still really, really cold. So let's fire up this mixture. We'll start with it on about speed 2. I don't really know how to operate one of these. Shell always does this, but we finna make it grind, y'all. And I'm just gonna start taking cubes of this meat. I'm gonna load up a little bit up here in my tray. We want some of the fat to go through. We want some of the lean to go through. Don't stick your finger down in it. This actually has a plunger we can use. And I've got that biggest die in the grinder to give me that coarser grind. I need to grow a few more inches. It's almost too tall for me up on this counter. Get on them tippy toes though. Yes, sir. You can smell that chili seasoning in the meat as it's getting ground. That's gonna make for a tasty pot of chili, I promise you. Now we're ready to make some chili, y'all. The first thing we're gonna do is get a little olive oil going in my black iron pot, and then we're gonna add our chili ground meat, start browning it up. I'm gonna use 2 hands and just do a dump. And it looks like a lot of meat, but we want a meaty, beefy, hearty chili. Now our meat's starting to brown up really nice. It's not quite done, but I wanna go ahead and add a whole sweet onion to it. And you can see I had a little bit of moisture in there. That's some of that fat that's rendered down. I'm not draining that off my chili. I want some of that in there. These onions are gonna soften up. It's smelling good already. We ain't done nothing but ground some meat and threw some onions in. Now we're ready for some garlic, so I'm just gonna make a little well in it again. I'm gonna hit it with about 5 cloves of garlic I minced up. Let that garlic get happy in there. Now we're ready to start adding that chili seasoning, y'all. Y'all know I got my Bonafide chili mix. For 4 pounds of meat, we need about 4 heaping tablespoons. We're just gonna work them in batches here. I'll go ahead and put 2 in, get it stirred up, and then we're gonna add some more for a total about 4 heaping tablespoons. That's a suggestion. You know, make your chili as mild or as spicy as you like it. I like to give the meat a little taste to see how it is. That's real good. Now, let's turn it into chili. So we're going in diced tomatoes. Got a big can, y'all. And then I like to add some tomatoes with some peppers in it. I got that Rotel. Rotel goes in chili, if you ask me. Gotta have a little tomato sauce too. And then to give us a little bit more heat, I got a can of diced green chilies going in. You could add fresh peppers if you want. You could skip the peppers if you don't want it spicy. But this will put you about 3 along. Now that's a big old pot of chili coming together. But now we're gonna doctor this chili up, fortify some of those flavors. I'm gonna use some Worcestershire sauce, a few dashes, a lot of dashes. Then I've got some beef concentrate. This is just a squeezy kind. You can get it at your grocery store. Just makes that beefy flavor more intense. Just put a good squeeze of it in there. And we're just gonna incorporate that. We also gonna check it, see if we need more salt, pepper, anything like that. We got some cracked black pepper going down. Everything needs a little salt and pepper. You could even use AP if you wanted to. A little salt, not too much. Now here's a little trick that I like to do to chili. Is add a little bit of sugar. It's not to make it sweet, but it offsets the acidity of those tomatoes. It just brings it all together. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of sugar to it. Maybe half a tablespoon at the most. Now all I gotta do is sit back and watch it. I'm gonna stir it about every 10-15 minutes. Make sure it stays on a low simmer. And that chili's gonna do what it do. I mean, that's how we want it to cook. So y'all, I simmered that chili for about an hour and a half. Really give it time to let some of that moisture reduce off of it, let those flavors really concentrate. This is how I'm gonna make a bowl of it. So just ladle you out a couple big scoops of that chili right there. Fill that bowl up. Oh, it looks awesome. You can see the tomatoes, a good meat consistency. I'm just gonna top it with some shredded sharp cheddar and a little bit of finely diced white onion. You know, you can put whatever you want on top of chili, but this is just a classic way to eat it for me. So let's see how we did, y'all. I know this chili's gonna be hot. It's smoking, but I gotta get some cheese, a little bit of onion there. It's a big old man bite. Oh yeah. That's a bowl of chili. Thanks for hanging out with us today, y'all. If you like what we're doing, subscribe to the channel. You can find us on all the social channels. We also do that podcast. We're gonna talk about this chili and all the other delicious stuff coming up. We'll see y'all next time.